Hi guys, Miss McDonald again. So today in this video we're going to talk about how to reduce fractions. So regardless of what we're going to do with a fraction, so eventually we're going to add them and subtract them and multiply them and divide them. And I know that right now that might sound scary, but no matter what we're going to do with a fraction, when we get to the end of a problem, we always have to try and reduce a fraction. So remember from a previous video, reducing is also known as simplifying, putting it in its lowest terms. It had a bunch of different names. But basically, our goal is to make the fraction, the entire thing, the top and the bottom, so the numerator and the denominator, we want to make that whole thing as small as possible. And if you've watched my video before, you know that you take notes, so you should be writing this down. If you don't have a notebook paper, you hit pause and you go and get paper. So our goal is to make the fraction, the whole thing. So we're going to make the entire fraction as small as it can possibly be. This string is to my projector slide, by the way, and I'm just too short to hang up the string in case you're wondering what it is. I'm not very tall. So a lot of the times when you're working with fractions, a problem may say, add these fractions and present your answer in its lowest terms. That's the reducing part of this. So our goal is to make the entire fraction as small as possible. So in order to do that, what we need to do first is find a number. And it doesn't matter what number you pick. Sometimes starting small is easy. Sometimes starting with 2 is easy. Sometimes you might have to reduce a fraction a few times by different numbers before you're able to get it to its smallest form. So you're not going to always jump from a fraction to the fraction in its most reduced form in one jump. It's probably not going to happen that often, especially when you're first starting out, and that's okay. It doesn't matter how you get there, it just matters that you get there. So we have to find a number that's going to evenly divide into our numerator and our denominator. Evenly is the important part here. This is, if you know your multiplication tables, reducing is going to go a lot faster. So if you have, of course you could use a calculator if your teacher is allowing you to, but the more that you know your multiplication tables, the faster that you can reduce these fractions. So we need to find a number that's going to evenly go into these numbers. So a number that will evenly divide into the numerator and the denominator. It has to be the same number. So you cannot divide the top number. Sorry, sometimes I can't write and talk at the same time. You can't divide the numerator by 3 and divide the denominator by 4. You have to divide the numerator and the denominator by the exact same number. Okay, so let me get it out of the way so that you can see these notes. So again, our goal is to make the fraction as small as possible. This is going to be a rule no matter what we're doing with fractions. So as you get older, you're going to be playing with things like ratios and proportions and other things that sound scary right now, and they will always have to be reduced and in their lowest form. So let's do a few examples of these so you can see what I mean. So if we have the fraction 6/10, remember we talked about in the last video that we're going to end up with a lot and then I make that weird face. So this is not going to be read as 6/10. You're going to say 6/10. So we need to find one number that's the same exact number that can evenly divide into 6 and evenly divide into 10 to give us a smaller fraction. So one way that's helpful to do this is to think of all of the numbers that could multiply to get 6. Those are called factors. I don't know if you've heard of those before. So if we think of all of the numbers that could go into 6, right? Can we multiply 1 by something to get 6? Yeah, we could multiply 1 and 6. So there's two numbers. How about 2? Can we multiply 2 by something to get 6? Or can we divide 6 by 2 and get an even number? That's the same exact problem. I just said it two different ways. So how many times can 2 go into 6? I hope you're saying 3 times. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So how about 4? Can 4 go into 6 evenly? Let's see. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. Uh-oh. We already passed off the 6. So I guess 4 won't work. Okay, so how about 5? Does 5 go into 6 evenly? So let's think this out. So 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. We already passed off the 6. Shucks. 6 we already did. So then we can't go any higher than 6. So we're done. These are the only numbers that could evenly go into 6. So we're going to do the same thing with 10 now. So anytime you're trying to divide, the number 1 and the number itself will always be able to divide into a number. So you can always, even if the number is 6 zillion, you could divide it by 1, because 1 times 6 zillion gives you 6 zillion. So we already know 1 and 10 can go into this, because 1 times 10 is 10. So let's do the same thing. How about 2? Can 2 divide into 10 evenly? Well, 2 times 1 is 2. 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. So 2 and 5. Okay. How about 3? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so 3 won't work. How about 4? I hope you're thinking no, because 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12, so we've already passed off the 10. 5 we figured out. How about 6? How about 7? Well, 7 times 1 is 7, and 7 times 2 is 14, so that doesn't work. 8? 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. Nope, that doesn't work. 9? 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. That definitely doesn't work. And we already hit 10. Okay, so which numbers match in these two rows. I hope that you've noticed that the 2's match. So we can divide 6 and we can divide 10 by 2, and we will get a smaller fraction. So the way that we show that we're reducing a fraction is by putting an equal sign. So 6 divided by 2 is, hope you're saying the answer. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So now our reduced fraction is 3/5. There's that again, not 3/5. So now if we look at this, can this get any smaller? So does 2 go into 3 evenly? No. Does 2 divide into 5 evenly? No. 3 goes into 3 evenly, but 3 doesn't go into 5 evenly. So we're stuck. So this is our fraction in its lowest terms. So let's try another one, but we're going to pick the pace up a little bit. If you need to do this after I write the problem, you hit pause and you do this if it helps. This one we're going to do in steps. Some of you might decide to use a bigger number to reduce by, and it'll work faster. That's fine. I'm going to do it in smaller steps. So just because these are bigger numbers does not mean that you have to get worried. So we're going to do 18/20ths. So I would like you to hit pause and try and reduce this yourself. And then when you hit play, I'm going to work this out for you. Okay? All right, hit pause. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this by 2. Because I know that 2 can go into both numbers evenly. So I'm going to draw my equal sign. 2 divided by 18 is 9. 2 divided by 20 is 10. Now I said I was going to do this in small steps, but do I have any steps left? Can this get any smaller? If you said no, you're right. This is as small as this can go, because 3 can go into 9 evenly, but it cannot go into 10 evenly. So if you hit play and you got the same answer that fast, and you're upset I didn't do it in small pieces, I'd rather you be upset but with the right answer. So sometimes teachers try and trick you, sorry. All right, let's try another one. I know these numbers are big, but they don't have to be scary. So this is called 40/60ths. So I'm going to cut it in half again, or divide both the top and the bottom by 2. And I'm going to get 20/30. So hit pause again and see where you go from here. And then come back. So I'm going to split this in half again, or divide by 2, and now I'm going to have 10/15. And this is what I'm going to take in steps. Now I can divide 10 by 2, and I get a 5, but I can't divide 15 by 2 and get an even number, so I'm a little stuck. I don't know what to do. Okay, so I can't use 2. I could use 3 goes into 15 evenly, but it doesn't go into 10, so I can't use 3. 4 does not go into either number evenly, so I can't use that, but 5 does. So 5 divided by 10 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And this is your answer because this is as low as the fraction can go. Now, some of you might have noticed all the way back here that if you divided each of these by 10, so 20 divided by 10 is 2, 30 divided by 10 is 3. Some of you might have noticed that here and missed and not done these extra steps. That's fine. It does not matter if it took you 2 steps to get here or 5 steps to get there. Sometimes just seeing a bigger number can make you a little bit more nervous. So doing these smaller steps can actually be more helpful because otherwise then you're sitting there staring at this big scary number. Okay, so that's reducing fractions. We're going to be doing this a lot in future videos. So I hope this helps. You will have problems to practice, so make sure that you do them. If you have any trouble, watch the video again. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.